From India's MPs taking a united stand against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism worldwide to Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif expressing readiness for direct talks with India, here is today's news wrap. From Tharoor to Owaisi, Ravi Shankar to Kanimozhi, India's top MPs joined hands to expose Pakistan's support for terrorism on the global stage. As part of multi-party delegations, they visited several countries to spread New Delhi's message of zero tolerance against terrorism. According to the Indian Embassy, this show of unity and solidarity in the fight against terrorism will further strengthen bilateral cooperation on the shared global challenge.
Pakistan has remained in denial. There has been absolutely no conviction, no serious criminal prosecution, no attempt to dismantle the terror infrastructure in that country, and the persistence of safe havens. So from our point of view, this is it. You do this, you're going to get this back.
These stupid jokers, they want to compete with India. They had given a photograph of a 2019 Chinese army drill, claiming it's a victory over India. Now this is what Pakistan indulges in.
It's the last mistake we should do, or last thing we should think of. Because once the snake is unleashed, it will end up biting whoever it can.
28 बार वर्ल्ड बैंक के पास जाके IMF के पास गिड़गड़ा के लोन लेना पड़ रहा है पाकिस्तान को। पाकिस्तान अपने सारा पैसा जो है आर्मी को दे रहा है, आर्मी में वहाँ करप्शन है, और इस कारण से पूरी दुनिया उससे परेशान थी।
Again, when they try to target India again, then we foil their attempts, and finally Pakistan understood that they cannot win this war against India.
From Tharoor to Owaisi, Ravi Shankar to Kanimozhi, India's top MPs joined hands for Operation Sindoor, a rare and bold all-party diplomatic mission. Their goal: expose Pakistan's terror links to the world. Across continents, India spoke in one voice, loud and clear, against terrorism.
We are not interested, and we still remain absolutely clear that we are not interested in warfare with Pakistan. We would much rather be left alone to grow our economy and pull our people into the world that they're getting ready for in the 21st century. We have no desire to have anything that the Pakistanis have. Sadly, we may be a status quo power, they are not. They are a revisionist power, they covet territory that India controls, and they want to have it at any price. And if they can't get it through conventional means, they're willing to get it through terrorism. That is not acceptable to us, and that's really the message that we are here to give all of us, all of you in this country and elsewhere. We are determined now that there's got to be a new bottom line to this. We have tried everything: international dossiers, complaints to sanctions committee, diplomacy, even this joint investigation attempt. Everything has been tried. Pakistan has remained in denial. There has been absolutely no conviction, no serious criminal prosecution, no attempt to dismantle the terror infrastructure in that country, and the persistence of safe havens. So from our point of view, this is it. You do this, you're going to get this back. And we have demonstrated with this operation that we can do it with a degree of precision and with a degree of restraint that the world, we hope, will understand. We have a right to self-defense. We've exercised that right. We have not done so irresponsibly, and we have not done so in a way that would have warranted a wider conflagration. India, sadly, had no reason to doubt where it came from, because within 1 hour of the atrocity, a group called the Resistance Front had claimed credit. The Resistance Front was known for some years to be a frontal organization of the banned, proscribed Lashkar-e-Taiba, which is on the US designated terror list as well as the UN sanctions committees. And India had gone to the UN sanctions committee with information about the Resistance Front in 2023 and in 24, and now sadly it had acted in 25. They repeated their claim the next day until, of course, global condemnation, I think, woke their handlers up to the dangers as represented, and then they deleted their claim on the third day. But by then, the claim had been made, recorded, registered, and reported. And for us, therefore, the culpability lay not just with the four or five, we're not 100% sure, evil killers who came to Pahalgam and did this atrocity, but also with those who had sent them, financed them, equipped them, trained them, guided them into doing this. And since we knew where Lashkar-e-Toiba is headquartered, it has its not just a safe haven, but a rather generous 200-acre campus in a city in the heartland of Pakistani Punjab. We also knew where the responsibility lay, because this is our problem, not yours. But in 2015, in January, there was an attack on an Indian air base, a place called Pathankot. And our Prime Minister had just made a goodwill visit to Pakistan the previous month. On the 25th of December, he'd attended the birthday celebrations of then Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, whose granddaughter's wedding was on the same day. He'd given gifts. So when this happened, he was so astonished that he actually called the Pakistani Prime Minister and said, "Why don't you join the investigation? Let's solve who is doing this." And the Pakistani, you can imagine the horror of the Indian military establishment at this idea that Pakistani investigators are going to come to an Indian airbase. But they came. And they went back to Pakistan and said, "Oh, the Indians did it to themselves." That was the last straw. I mean, it was just we'd already gone through the horrors of 2008 in Mumbai when 170 people had been killed, and the Pakistani denials at that time were laid bare not just by the fact that we caught one of the terrorists alive and his identity, his address, his family, etc., were identified in Pakistan, but equally because that drama took place over 3 days, during which Western intelligence agencies trained their recording devices, amongst other things, on Pakistani, the chilling voice of the Pakistani handler, giving minute-by-minute instructions to the killers in Mumbai. So the evidence was there, there'd been denial, and that denial was proven to be completely false. And as you know, thereafter, the Pakistanis claimed not to know where Osama bin Laden was, until he was found in a safe house right next to an army cantonment, in a city dominated by the army. This is Pakistan, and I'm afraid for us, 2015 was the last opportunity for them to behave, to cooperate, to really show they were serious about ending terror as they claimed every time that they were.
In other news, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said his country is ready for direct talks with India on all major issues, including Kashmir, the Indus Waters Treaty, and terrorism. Speaking in Tehran alongside Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, Sharif stated that Pakistan wants to resolve disputes through negotiations and is open to dialogue on trade and counter-terrorism.
Kashmir, terror, and water wars. Pakistan says it's ready to talk. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said his country is ready to hold direct talks with India on all key issues from Kashmir to the Indus Waters Treaty and terrorism. Speaking in Tehran alongside Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian, Sharif said, "We want to resolve all disputes, including the Kashmir issue and the water issue, through negotiations, and we are also ready to talk to our neighbor on trade and counter-terrorism." His comments come during a four-nation visit aimed at rallying support against India in the aftermath of Operation Sindoor and the subsequent military flare-up. Sharif also made a stop in Istanbul where he met Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The Pakistani PM thanked Erdogan for his resolute support during the latest India-Pakistan standoff. Had the honor of meeting my dear brother, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Istanbul this evening, thanked him for his resolute support to Pakistan in the recent Pakistan-India standoff, which resulted in Pakistan's overwhelming victory. Alhamdulillah. He added that Turkey reaffirmed its support and that the two nations discussed strengthening bilateral trade and strategic ties.
In other news, in Manipur, intense protests broke out in Imphal over an alleged directive by Central Security Forces to cover the word Manipur on state-run bus. As tensions escalated, Governor Ajay Kumar Bhalla was airlifted from the airport to Raj Bhavan for security reasons. The controversy stemming from May 20th Gualtabi checkpost incident has triggered widespread unrest, with student and civil society groups demanding an apology from the governor and the removal of the top state officials.
Amid widespread protests across Imphal for the second consecutive day over the Central Security Personnel's alleged bid to force the state government staffers to cover the word Manipur on a state-run transport bus, the northeastern state's governor Ajay Kumar Bhalla was forced to take a helicopter from the airport in view of the unrest to reach the Raj Bhavan on Monday. Bhalla, who returned to Imphal from New Delhi, was airlifted to the Kangla Fort located near the Raj Bhavan, from where he was escorted by security personnel to his residence. An official said that the governor was on a routine visit to the national capital. The umbrella body of the Meitei groups, known as the Coordinating Committee on Manipur Integrity, also known as a COCOMI, announced the launch of a statewide mass agitation beginning the 25th of May to demand the governor's apology, besides removal of Chief Secretary Prashant Kumar Singh, Director General of Police Rajiv Singh, and Security Advisor Kuldeep Singh in connection with the Gualtabi incident. On 20th of May, security forces stopped a state-run bus carrying journalists who were en route to attend the Shirui Lily Festival near the Gualtabi checkpost in Ukhrul district and forced the Directorate of Information and Public Relations staffers to cover the state's name written on the windshield with a white paper. The COCOMI has condemned this incident, calling it an insult to Manipur's identity. There were chaos in Imphal on Sunday as protesters clashed with security personnel when they allegedly tried to storm the Raj Bhavan. On Monday, in view of the governor's arrival from New Delhi, students and women protesters formed the human chains along the Tidim Road in Imphal West district. The protesters were holding placards and banners that read, "Governor must apologize, must stop insulting Manipur, Chief Secretary, DGP, Security Advisor must resign," among other posters and banners. To prevent any untoward incident, a large number of central forces and state police were deployed along the stretch from the Imphal airport to the Raj Bhavan on Tidim Road. In the Kwaketal area, security forces fired tear gas to disperse a group of protesters after a scuffle with them. Significantly, a 7-member team of the COCOMI is currently camping in New Delhi for a meeting with the officials of the Union Ministry of Home Affairs on Tuesday to discuss the current situation in Manipur, especially the row over the Gualtabi incident.
We expect that he will come visit on by way and discuss with his people. But unfortunately, without going to the by road, he used by chauffeurs and drop in his Bhavan. This kind of activities and his attitude, we feel that is a coward person.
In other news, speaking at a rally in Bhuj, Gujarat, near the Pakistan border, Prime Minister Narendra Modi strongly criticized Pakistan's government and military for supporting terrorism. He urged Pakistani youth to rise against what he called the disease of terrorism, accusing the country's leaders of backing terror groups for profit.
पाकिस्तान को आतंक की बीमारी से मुक्त करने के लिए पाकिस्तान के अवाम को आगे आना होगा, पाकिस्तान के नौजवानों को आगे आना होगा। सुख चैन की जिंदगी जियो, रोटी खाओ, वरना मेरी गोली तो है ही। साथियों, भारत की लड़ाई सीमा पार पल रहे आतंकवाद से, जो आज इस आतंकवाद को पाल पोस रहा है, उससे हमारी दुश्मनी है। मैं कच्छ की इस धरती से, पाकिस्तान की सीमा पर सटा हुआ मेरा जिला है, मैं पाकिस्तान के लोगों को भी कहना चाहता हूं, क्या पाया आपने? हिंदुस्तान दुनिया की चौथी इकोनॉमी बन गया, और तुम्हारा हाल क्या है? तुम्हारे बच्चों के भविष्य को बर्बाद किसने किया? तुम्हें दर दर भटकने के लिए मजबूर किसने किया? ये आतंकवाद के आकाओं ने। वहां की सेना का अपना एजेंडा, पाकिस्तान के नागरिकों, खास करके वहां के बच्चे, ये मोदी की बात कान खोल करके सुन लो। ये आपकी सरकार और आपकी सेना आतंकवाद को समर्थन दे रही है। आतंकवाद पाकिस्तान की सेना और सरकार के लिए पैसा कमाने का जरिया बन गया है। पाकिस्तान के युवकों को तय करना होगा, पाकिस्तान के बच्चों को तय करना होगा, क्या ये रास्ता उनके लिए ठीक है? क्या उनका भला हो रहा है? सत्ता के लिए जो एक खेल खेले जा रहे हैं, क्या उससे पाकिस्तान के बच्चों की जिंदगी बनेगी? मैं पाकिस्तान के बच्चों को कहना चाहता हूं, ये आपके हुक्मनारा, ये आपकी सेना आतंकवाद के साए में पल रही है। वो आपके जीवन में खतरे पैदा कर रही है, आपके भविष्य को नष्ट कर रही है, आपको अंधेरे में धकेल रही है। पाकिस्तान को आतंक की बीमारी से मुक्त करने के लिए पाकिस्तान के अवाम को आगे आना होगा, पाकिस्तान के नौजवानों को आगे आना होगा। सुख चैन की जिंदगी जियो, रोटी खाओ, वरना मेरी गोली तो है ही।
Modi said, issuing a stern warning, live peacefully, eat roti, or else my bullet is there. That's all for today. We leave you with visuals of watermelon cultivation in Siliguri, West Bengal, a new avenue for employment and economic growth in the state.
एक्चुअली एग्रीकल्चर जो है वो तो देश के बहुत बड़ा एक इशू है। हमारा देश ही एग्रीकल्चर के ऊपर बेस्ड है, तो ये बस एक काम नहीं है, ये बहुत सारे लोगों का क्या बोल सकते, सब बहुत सारे लोगों को काम दे सकते हैं। ये बहुत बड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी है। अभी तो बहुत सारे लोग हमारे यहाँ पे काम कर रहे हैं। आने वाले दिन में हम चाहते हैं कि हमारे यहाँ पे और भी ज्यादा लोग आए, यहाँ पे हम उनको काम पे रख सके, वो लोग हमारे लिए काम कर सके, उन लोगों का भी कुछ अच्छा हो सके। और ये एग्रीकल्चर ऐसा एक जगह है, वहाँ से कुछ सबको काम मिलता है, और ऊपर से क्या है ना, ये बहुत माने एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली है।